Hello and welcome to the AI Summit London. My name is Rudy Duquette and I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Pratima, software engineer at Airbnb. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Rudy.
You have an extensive background, and so just guide me on a little bit of a journey on how you landed up at Airbnb.
Yeah, sure. So I completed my bachelor's in 2019. I graduated with a major in information technology. And right after graduation, I joined Microsoft. So as part of Microsoft, I was working as part of the Azure backup team. And I got to work pretty much into the cloud space and the backend distributed system space. So I was pretty fascinated by how, distributed workflows work and how data is retrieved from multiple, sources. So so I went quite deep dive into the cloud infrastructure, and 3 years into Microsoft, I thought that it's time to explore some other domain, and travel is something that I was always very fascinated by. So that was I think one of the turning points when I thought that maybe I should look for a switch in the domain. And I'd anyway been a big fan of Airbnb's tech blogs. I mean, they were pretty insightful, so I would always read them during my free time. And the funny thing is that I got, coincidentally, I got a message from a recruiter in Airbnb on my LinkedIn that there is an open position and, hey, do you want to interview for it? And I'm like, okay, let's just go for it. And then it was like a long 2-month interview process with multiple coding rounds, system design rounds. But yeah, in the end, I landed up the offer. And I think one of the major things that pulled me into this role was that the opening was as part of the payments team. So, I mean, payments is something which will always remain a hot topic in tech, right? So I also wanted to get some idea on the fintech side of things. So I think that was something which I was looking forward for. So yeah, that's how I, ended up this role at Airbnb. So it's been around 3.5 years now, and I'm working as part of the payments compliance team. I mean, it has been really fascinating to understand how the payment workflows work, how compliance works at an organization level. So yeah, I mean, looking forward to learning more and growing more in this role.
Gotcha. In your session, you discuss optimization LLMs in high-stake domains. What are the key challenges you faced in building reliable AI systems?
Yeah. So I think one of the major challenges while deploying AI systems to production is that the model accuracy is rarely enough, because actual production systems, they involve operational constraints, they involve latency, they involve stuff like compliance, risk, and safety. So we should not just focus on the model accuracy, but we should consider it as a holistic system design problem. So I think the first and the most important point that we should touch base on is that AI systems are probabilistic in nature, so they are not deterministic. So the end decision-making power should not lie with the AI at all, especially when it comes to, high-stake environments like compliance. So the major change that we should, put up here is that we should basically integrate it with human-in-the-loop systems, wherein the AI would basically help the end user take the decisions on their behalf by basically retrieving the information from multiple sources. So if we consider a previous system wherein AI was not into the picture, the end user would have been responsible for retrieving all the information from multiple sources. But here, since AI would help the analyst, move faster by retrieving the information and summarizing all the details for them, the end user would still have the authority to take the final decision. And I think the second point would be observability, because if we consider the observability and testing for traditional software engineering and with that of AI systems, it's pretty different, because traditional software engineering is, again, it's pretty deterministic in nature, but AI systems are probabilistic. So we need to have proper harness systems, proper evaluation metrics in the system to test whether the model is not hallucinating and it's giving us the right set of output.
So, you touched on workflows there. How can AI systems be designed to effectively coordinate multiple data sources and tools? And what impact have you observed on productivity in complex workflows and case management environments?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the major challenges, again, when it comes to deploying AI systems, is that what we have observed is that the end users, they don't really suffer from lack of intelligence. They actually suffer from fragmented information. So we all know that production systems, they are pretty messy, and data is scattered and fragmented across multiple different platforms. So if I run you through an example, so as part of compliance investigations, an agent is basically supposed to work on different types of cases. Like it can be sanctions cases or anti-money laundering cases or KYC related cases. So the major challenge there is not just what would be the next step that the agent needs to take to proceed with that case workflow, but what exactly is the information that the agent needs to put their investigation on. So there are different platforms within Airbnb that the agent has to sift the data from. So one of the important aspects of the AI system is that it can help to retrieve all of that information and bring everything under one place as part of the case management workflow. So if I give you another example, an analyst working on a specific, compliance case, there might be a lot of conversation that would have happened between the host and a previous analyst who was working on that case. So once a new analyst steps in, the first thing is that they would need to understand what stage of the case investigation they are in, because there is context switch, and then there was a lot of information that was, exchanged between the previous analyst working on the case and the host who had, opened that case. So instead of the agent sifting manually through that information and trying to understand the context of the case, what that AI can do is it can basically, understand that it is that we are at this stage of investigation where a new agent has claimed the case. There has been a context switch. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sift through the case history and I'm going to summarize every conversation that has happened until now. So that would basically, provide the new analyst a summarization of what all has happened in this case until now. And that would significantly reduce the case handling time, because it would help the agent, basically go over the context switch related side of things and understand what stage of the investigation they are in. Similarly, we can employ similar summarization techniques for case notes, case history, any documents that have been uploaded for a case. So that significantly reduces the average handling time of a case as well.
So it's reducing time, and which brings me on to my next point, which is what are the kind of the trade-offs that you're facing with the AI, architecture? So balancing cost, reliability, latency. What are some of the challenges, and how are you approaching that?
Yeah. So I think every new orchestration layer that we employ in our AI model, that would significantly increase the time taken to retrieve information as well. So we need to be very careful that when we are, employing a new orchestration layer, when we are employing any new sort of reasoning on top of an existing orchestration layer, is that actually effectively, reducing the latency, or is it increasing the overall, AHT of the case? So it's not always necessary that the best performing model has to give the best answer. It might be the case that we can go with, a basic model for summarization, but that model should be reliable enough. It should be consistent enough. So I think speed is not just the only factor, but consistency and reliability would, we will need to make that trade-off between speed and consistency and reliability.
Of course. Yeah. And I think just touching beyond that, many organizations, I think, are struggling to move into the AI systems from experimentation to then a reliable production use.
Right.
You know, could you share some strategies or frameworks that you found most effective?
Yeah. So I think personally as well, I've had this observation that, a lot of AI initiatives, they succeed in experimentation, but they fail when deployed in real world production workflows. And that majorly happens because real world systems, they involve operational constraints, they involve latency, they involve stuff like compliance, trust, risk, and safety, all of this. So the thing is, we basically need to make sure that we are not just considering the model accuracy, but we are considering the system as a whole at a holistic level. So system design, debugging, orchestrating, all of this is something that comes into the picture. So instead of just focusing on the model or just considering the AI system as a standalone experimentation piece, we should consider that embedded into part of the business workflows. So, considering it as a holistic software development and system design product rather than an experimentation is something that's the need of the hour.
And there must be so many lessons you must have taken on from working with these kind of high stakes domains, based on your experience deploying AI in critical areas like financial crime and compliance.
Yeah.
What are the most important lessons, specifically around surrounding trust and sustainable performance, that have you found within these enterprise platforms?
Yeah. So I'm glad that you touched based on that, because I would like to, touch base on a very important point, which I think organizations are ignoring these days, which is human in the loop systems. So the thing is, currently what's happening is organizations are moving towards AI first systems. And when they say that they are moving towards AI first system, it means that they want to completely eliminate the human decision making. But that's not how most of the real world systems, they function, especially when it comes to, industries that require like compliance, like industries like payments, which basically need to be auditable. And the decisions that are taken, they need to be explainable as well. So we cannot really eliminate humans altogether. So, most of the production systems, they are human in the loop. So the next best thing that the organizations can do is create embedded workflows that help the end users, like rather than eliminating the need of human at all, they would help the end user arrive at a decision at a much faster rate. So instead of acting as a black box that takes the decisions for the users on their behalf, these AI systems, they basically act as an accelerator that help the agents, like who are the end users in our case. So it can be used interchangeably for any end users for other products. So it would help the end users arrive at the decision at a much faster rate. And also, like I had been reading a survey which said that, users are most likely to adopt new AI systems when they know that this AI system is not going to replace me, but it's going to act as a companion, which basically helps me arrive at my decision at a much faster rate, or arrive at my result at a much faster rate. Yeah.
And you talking about your journey previously, you've had such an incredible journey that you are now a mentor and women in tech ambassador, which is absolutely fantastic. And now you're giving, you're passing on to that next generation. What advice would you give to aspiring engineers looking to build a long, fulfilling career as yourself?
Yeah, so I think one of the major advice that I would like to share is that do not ever underestimate the value of depth. I mean, so the software industry is moving very quickly, and there's a constant, trend to keep chasing the latest technologies and, learn about what is the latest hot, new tech in the market. But the thing is, critical thinking, system design, algorithms, data structures, debugging. So all of the things that, contribute to engineering depth, that is something that should not be ignored. And people should, keep focusing on the fundamentals. And that's something that would help you grow a long way in the career. And second thing is, I think, yeah, I would like to share that, especially to women, I would like to share that, they should start taking up space more confidently, because what I've observed is that, a lot of women, they kind of, hold back because there's not a lot of representation of the gender. So they kind of hold back in contributing, in like being more visible, speaking more publicly, writing. So the thing is, I would like to just encourage them to take up space more confidently. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you touched on trends and what maybe not to focus on, and the other points to focus on. But within the next 12 months, is there anything you've got your eye on looking forward trend-wise within the AI space?
I think agentic workflows are something that are supposed to become very common, especially, because AI is going to start getting embedded into business domains and business workflows. So I think we are way past that stage when AI is only used as an isolation piece. So we have already had chatbots, like we've had enough of chatbots, we've had enough of summarization features, we've had enough of recommendation engine. But the next thing is how these agents would be embedded into the workflow and would basically help the end users, assist them in completing their entire, work as part of an embedded workflow altogether.
And finally, how important is it for you to be here at the AI Summit London, and what do you hope to bring away?
Oh, I think I've had a great time here chatting with other people and gaining a lot of perspective. And I think one of the major reasons why, the AI Summit here was different was that I got to interact with a lot of practitioners who are actually deploying the AI systems in production in their systems. So I got to learn about what are the actual challenges that they are facing while deploying the systems in production. So I've attended a few other conferences where the focus is more on the theoretical side of things, where there are a lot of researchers that share the insights. I'm not saying that's less valuable, but the thing is, for me as a person who's working in the industry, I think it was quite valuable to actually gain insights from other practitioners who are actually, deploying AI systems into production.
Pratima, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for giving such wonderful insights. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Rui Jucade, and this has been the AI Summit London.